Hey guys, this is Steve, Synth Tech. I'm in the studio and we're going to be making some tracks, some sounds, some synth music utilizing our systems that we sell with Synth Tech. So this first one we're going to be working on is going to be the MST 84HP system, which is a duophonic, monophonic synthesizer voice designed by George Mattson mostly, and it is going to be fun. Okay, as stated, we are going to be using the MST 84HP system. It is a great system. We've made some changes to it from when we first sold it, including the fact that not only does our MIDI to CV have just our bass unit here, but we also are including the expander, which allows for things like arpeggios and other fun things. And moving through these units, of course, MIDI to CV, we also have ourselves buffered malt, George Mattson's famous 07 buff malt that he invented, the VC-LFO, which we use extensively, noise, sample, and hold. We're going to use that noise. We got two VCOs, allowing for duophonic and monophonic fifths, thirds, all kinds of fun stuff. But we got the audio CV mixer, which is really going to help us out here. Low pass filter, which we need, of course, to make our cool vintage synth sounds and modern ones. Dual envelope, dual VCA. And the Verb, which is not a George Mattson design, but it allows us to have a faux spring reverb and other cool reverb effects. And of course, we're coming out all the way out of our MST stereo output. You can, of course, get a system like this, build your own, or just use this for inspiration with other synths. But this one sounds cool, has a real good vintage feel. And we are going to be doing everything digitally. As far as our capture, we do have a fun Fostex in the background. But we're not using that for this. We're going to be using our Focusrite and going to be bumping into some Pro Tools. So I'm going to kind of show you step by step how we make some fun synth tunes. Okay, for our first track here, we're going to be using this sick M Audio Keystation 49. Nice old MIDI controller. Of course, it's going to be popping all the way up into, well, it's going actually into the Focusrite Claret using a standard DIN MIDI cable, but we're connecting the MST system here, 84. We're using our USB connection into the computer, and they all talk. So, as you can see, this is going to the MIDI to CV. We're using the arpeggiation function on this, the arpeggiator that is in the MST MIDI to CV expander. And then what we're doing is we are clocking it using the VC-LFO. That's going out of there in the square wave, and that's coming into the clock input, which allows us to be able to, of course, change the speed of our arpeggiation. So right now we're at this speed. Of course, if I make this go faster, it clocks this faster, which makes our arpeggios faster. Okay, I've kind of settled on an arpeggio that I'm at least going to start off with. I've got the oscillators detuned from one another about by a fifth, and so let's hear what this sounds like. That's going to be my rhythm and percussion happening on the track. And I might add some more percussion, and we'll add a lead line over it. For our lead line, I want to use the VC-LFO here. Sorry about that lighting. Where I am taking the sine wave, going at a slower rate, as you can see there out of the LFO. I am patching that into the second channel of our VCA, because with the bleed control here, I can actually attenuate the signal. Because I don't want very much of it going in, because I want sort of like a bent sine wave LFO going into the pulse width modulation. Also got a very little bit of pulse width attenuation here, for the modulation input, pardon me, coming in here on both of these VCOs. Again, coming out of that attenuated dual VCA, bringing that into the modulation control of the LFOs, and I'm just basically attenuating that very, very little so that I can get sort of a detuned, bent kind of a sound, maybe warble tape. Let's hear what it sounds like. And again, and the oscillators are already detuned to each other. But this is kind of what I want to use for my main lead line. I'm not convinced on the filter cutoff amount that we have set right now, but we're going to mess with that and see if we can get kind of a cool sound. Okay, for the second track, this is what I came up with. Another kind of rhythmic lead line. You know, kind of has a very Tron kind of feel to it. Adding a bass kind of a frequency now. I've set it up so that we're in duophonic mode, so both MIDI to CV converters are kicking out different CV, or I can play it duophonically. And I have it set up so I have different note priorities, of course, and so we can play the lead line as we're holding a bass line. Does that matter so much right now? Not necessarily, because for my next, I'm just going to be playing two different notes simultaneously. Bass line essentially that we're going to be adding to this track. For this next part, we're still using this duophonic keyboard, but we are going to be doing just one notes at a time. So both oscillators will be playing, and we have a filter sweep being affected by the VCLFO. The VCLFO is moving and it is sweeping our filter automatically, and this is what it sounds like. Add that to our song. It sounded pretty crazy, actually, pretty sci-fi, pretty interesting. Let's hear what it sounds like now with this part. It might be sounding kind of messy, but I'm liking it. This track needs next is some solar winds going through the desert. I don't know what we're going to call it. But basically, we're grabbing some of that noise, white noise. We're going into our low-pass filter, and the VCLFO is sweeping our cutoff on the filter, and we're going to bring that out, and this is what it sounds like. And of course, we could change our LFO, and it would going through the verb as well. And we're gonna mix that in, see what it sounds like. I think that's gonna finalize our track. Maybe we'll bounce it down to cassette tape. I don't know yet. Putting in a really slow amount of that filtered white noise. Let's bring the tracks up. Our final track. I'm not going to mix this down to tape because my cassette thing ain't working exactly right now, which they don't often work. Anyway, so let's hear it. I did some EQing, did a little bit of subtle mixing and whatnot, and this is sort of what we're coming up with. We might get a better final mix in a second, but this at least gives us an idea to what our track sounds like. Much for checking out this video. This was the MST-84 system, and this is our first track. Leave me some comments. Let me know if you hate it, if you love it. Anyway, it's a lot of fun. Thanks a lot for checking it out.